Burke, host and creator of Janette's I'm Every Woman TV, coming live at you from the Revival Bar and Lounge located at 738 College Street in the heart of downtown Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Tonight we are celebrating the music and the legendary life of Prince, as we were invited to do with the coordinators of this wonderful event, who are Andrew Craig, a very well-known Toronto musician, and Keisha Wynn, also very well-known. We will have interviews with them shortly, and we will also have their tribute concert to Prince coming up right now. Standing here with this other half of production tonight, Mr. Andrew Craig, who actually was phenomenal putting on this production with his counterparts to honor Prince. And I have to say, you did him proud.
Thank you very much.
You are a phenomenal entertainer. You were working your buns off for hours, 2.5 hours.
Hey, what's the Prince with you?
Yes, that's true. And I saw you work those keys on that keyboard like nobody's business. Your hands must be like very painful. Is it painful?
No, not even remotely. No,
No?
I've been doing it for a long time.
Okay.
I think this is my 41st year playing keyboards.
41st year. Wow, you hide it well. So, okay, let's talk about this whole thing. Why a tribute to Prince? I mean, you're a talented man. You've had a good career in music. You've done tribute stuff. You've even been a broadcaster for CBC. So you've done a lot of different things. Why did you feel the need to put on this production to honor Prince? What does he mean to you?
The loss of Prince was a seismic event in the global artistic community. And much like physical seismic events, when we have earthquakes, you don't see them coming. Like nobody had any sense that he was in any way struggling or had any health issues. He was here. He was on tour.
Yes.
He was just here in Toronto very recently.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he was gone. And it's hard to quantify the level of influence that this singular artist has had on so many people here in the Toronto community. People were shell-shocked. My colleagues and I, and including myself very much, we still are struggling to come to terms with the colossal nature of this loss. And my feeling about it is in the same way that we have funerals where we come together, we grieve, we celebrate the life of that person. We're not going to get to go to Minneapolis for the private funeral. We needed to be able to come together and celebrate him the way that we know how, through the music. He inspired us as musicians. We wanted to play his music and honor him in that way.
Okay, but how did he personally inspire you?
I think my story is very comparable to many people. When I became aware of his music, which would probably have been in my mid-teens, I recognized him even then as a singular voice. He sounded like no one else. He was derivative in many ways. You could sort of hear his influences, but really he had synthesized his sound into something all his own. And even back then, and most certainly now, I believe that the pinnacle of artistry is to sound like yourself. To develop something which is so unique and so identifiable as you and no one else, that you get to live and breathe that rarefied air that Prince did. So
Yes, that's true.
We were, my colleagues and I, and my fellow musicians and I were all inspired by how this man followed his own course in every possible way. He made music the way that he thought it needed to be. He felt no formula. He snubbed his nose at the record business when it didn't suit his purposes. He was absolutely uncompromising in the execution of his artistic vision. That's what we all wish to do.
Okay, so I agree with that, what you just said, but I want to challenge it and say, why do so many artists then try and copy that uniqueness, doing tributes and to be like them, to be like an artist that's distinct?
Well, I think tributes have a few different sources. Sometimes a tribute band is just out to capitalize on the success of an artist because they recognize that, well, this artist is only going to play here once every few years. If we put together a really good tribute band, we'll be busy. The reality is we live in a marketplace that does not give nearly as much attention and support to original music as it does to cover music. That's just our reality. Most of my colleagues on that stage with me tonight make their living playing cover tunes. Each one of them is a singular artist in their own right, extraordinarily gifted, and has lots to say. And if they thought for a moment that they could make as much money playing their own music as they do playing someone else's music, they'd be doing it. But the marketplace simply, at least here in Canada, does not sustain it. So that's one reason why we have tributes. The other reason why is that people become enamored with an artist's music and they want to deeply invest in it. And after a certain point of investment, you realize that you're able to replicate it and an audience will appreciate that. We did it for very different reasons. Tonight, our purpose in paying tribute to him and playing this music was so that we could actually celebrate what makes it great and offer that celebration to the public.
Now, you mentioned that you were going to give some of the profits tonight to a charity. Mm-hmm. Which charity is going to get that money?
Well, we talked about the Regent Park School of Music, which I already have a connection. But it turns out that there are actually a number of tributes that have been going on through the city that are giving to them as well. It's still our inclination. One of the organizations that he supported, he was a significant philanthropist, but because of his religion, was not permitted to talk about it.
Right.
So he had people who were the public face of his philanthropic efforts, and he just funded the money. He had a great, there's an organization, the name of which I cannot recall right now, but it connected high-tech firms with inner-city black kids who would not necessarily have a path into IT and careers in that world, and he recognized that he needed to make more opportunity for them. So while I'm a big fan of the Regent Park School of Music, we're looking at a couple of different charities in the city who give specific opportunities to inner city kids who don't necessarily have the best position.
That would be really good. Now, I'm going to just challenge you a little bit again on the marketing part of Prince's career, which I really want you to comment on because obviously you have a very good background in this yourself. Now, what I read was that Prince was not making it so big in the industry until his buddies came in and helped him out. So one of his buddies was married to a producer at Columbia Records, and that's how he actually got his first big hit going, and then that led to Purple Rain, the movie, and he became bigger and bigger and bigger. So I guess my question is, to what extent do you feel he might have had to sell himself out, particularly on the marketing, maybe with his costumes, what have you, like to have a gimmick sort of thing? And to what extent do you think he did not sell himself out?
It's a hard quiz. You've asked me a couple of different questions in one, and I don't know that there's a neat and clean answer. I don't know the man personally. I'm sorry to say I never met him, but nothing about him strikes me or struck me as gimmicky. I really get the sense that he was following his muse, and he was a combination of things. He was highly artistic and highly sexual and slightly androgynous, and had a very left of center artistic sensibility, and he just sort of went with that. And when you have that kind of irrepressible talent, I choose to believe that it floats up to the surface. So whether or not it was somebody at Columbia Records who gave him a break, I mean, Warner was his first label in which he released his eponymous CD, eponymous LP, I should say, I'm dating myself. There would have been some other way that he would have come to the forefront. That kind of talent so rarely gets lost in the margins.
Okay, so if you had that kind of talent, or you see that kind of talent because you're in the business and you see it a lot, and you see it with young artists and even young female artists, what would you advise them to be or to do in order to have a chance at being either the next Prince or a next Prince protege?
Well, that's a complex answer only because in the mid to late 1970s when he was coming up, the record industry was fundamentally different from what it is now. Like, the reality is, I'll just use another artist gone too soon. We talk about Michael Jackson and the Thriller album that sold, depending on which quote you hear, between 85 and 110 million records, right? The greatest selling album of all time. The reality is there's no way in the industry that is physically possible anymore. You could never have an artist who would sell 100 million records. The industry is just so different. The rules of engagement are different. And as a result, it would be very difficult for any artist, regardless of talent, to come up the same way that Prince did. What advice can I give? I'm not even necessarily sure that I'm qualified to give it, but I would say the same principles remain at the foundation of any successful career: talent, hard work, discipline, and perseverance, because this industry will grind you down in a heartbeat. And the moment you want to quit is the moment you have to continue to press on.
Okay, one last question. Your favorite Prince song, and why is it your favorite?
The question's not even fair.
No.
He wrote thousands of songs that are so amazing. I have favorites. I don't know, and I have favorites because he wasn't one thing. Sometimes he wrote some tune with a crazy funk groove. Sometimes he was storytelling. Sometimes he wrote a really deeply emotional ballad. Sometimes he wrote the most heart-wrenching love song. Within each category, I have favorites. That said, there were a couple of songs tonight that I specifically wanted to sing.
Which were?
The Morning Papers and Diamonds and Pearls.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my favorite sides of Prince is Prince the storyteller. And The Morning Papers is very much a story of an imbalanced love relationship. It may be a May-December romance. It's not 100% clear. But the way that he paints the pictures through the language and the way that he uses the musical accompaniment to support the message that he's offering, and the way that he brings you into the story, it's one of the most remarkable things about his artistry. And I wanted to make sure that I had a personal opportunity to celebrate that tonight.
Okay, well, that's great. All right, so now last, how can we learn more about you and tell us what's coming up for you?
My website is andrewcraig.me, all lowercase, ANDREWCREIG.me. You can just stick Andrew Craig into Google and I'll come up. There'll be another Andrew Craig comes up. He's a MMA wrestler.
Yes, I noticed that when I tried to research.
And you'll be able to tell that he looks absolutely nothing like me.
Noticed that too, and you also have a nice LinkedIn profile.
Well, thank you very much. I'm always working on an eclectic basket of things. I have a couple of Canada 150 large-scale presentations I'm working on. One having to do with the history of Africville, which is in Halifax. Another one that'll hopefully take place here in Toronto. I'm the artistic director of an organization called CultureWorks Arts Collective, and we produce a variety of things. We're working on a couple of larger projects too for the summer and for Black History Month 2017. And I'm playing and writing, and much like Keisha, I've always got other things up my sleeve that are just bubbling.
Okay, well, much like Keisha, I wish you a lot of continued success, and I want to thank you for being a guest on Janette's I'm Every Woman TV today.
Thank you so much for having me. Wishing you continued success as well.
Thank you, and thank you for being with us. Thanks for being with us tonight as we celebrated the life and the music of none other than Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince, and what an amazing guy he was, how much great music he has, what influence he's had on women in the business, from Sheila E. right through to Vanity, Apollonia, everyone in between. And we hope you've had as much fun as we have bringing this concert to you and the interviews. Until next time, continue to be fabulous. Please remember to like, comment, and share all our posts on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, Vimeo, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram. You name it, we're there. # Janette's I'm Every Woman TV.